Rather than lies, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, Mikel Arteta is hell-bent on looking for a new defensive midfielder in January. At least we wanted someone before January, but that looks unlikely. The likes of Jason Dynaya, the likes of Dzeko do not have the exact quality we want. So January is the best market, is the best time for us to look for a defensive midfielder and even someone to back up Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka. Someone versatile, someone talented, and with the real quality. So in this video, we're going to be diving into 3 names that Arsenal should look at in January. In the comment section, I want your opinions on this one. Moises Caicedo, Danilo, and Douglas Luiz. Which one would you prefer Arsenal to go for? Now, Danilo is in Brazil, so that means if you sign him in January, he will need some kind of experience and some kind of time to thrive in the Premier League. Douglas Luiz already plays in the Premier League and financially is the better deal. Moises Caicedo has a long time to go on his contract, but he's available and of course has played in the Premier League as well for Brighton. So in the comment section, let's have the conversations. Which one would do a better job when Thomas Partey is away, but also give you that kind of depth when Xhaka is rotated or Xhaka is actually injured? I mean, it really doesn't happen when it really doesn't happen that Xhaka gets injured all the time, but he can pick up an injury because games are going to be coming in thick and fast. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We're very close to 60,000 subscribers. I think we are 1,600 subscribers away. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and the like button as well. Now, meanwhile, we've been linked with the likes of Manuel Locatelli. I don't believe Arsenal will sign Manuel Locatelli. Yes, he did. He went to Juventus and snubbed us. He's not actually done very well there. Things are not actually moving in the right direction, but I don't think Arsenal will go back in that direction. I think the Italian media are really using Arsenal in this kind of clickbait way. Whenever a player needs a new team, whenever there is kind of marketing for a new player, there's a player seems to be linked with Arsenal. I just don't understand. So Manuel Locatelli is not on my list. He's one player I would have signed 2 summers ago. Right now, he doesn't have the playing time. He doesn't have the confidence. He doesn't have the morale to make a transfer to the Premier League. So Manuel Locatelli is out of my options, despite being linked with Arsenal. And if the links remain strong, we'll actually talk about him in the subsequent videos. Now, we have 3 names to discuss: Moises Caicedo, Danilo, and Douglas Luiz. Let's start off with Moises Caicedo because recently Brighton just made it very clear that any offers for Moises Caicedo will be accepted. The player is up for sale in January or even in the summer. Now, I was quite very surprised when I saw this story because when you think about it, they've just lost Yves Bissouma. They just lost one of the best midfielders, one of the best defensive midfielders, one of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League. Replacing him with Moises Caicedo for me is quite a blessing because they bought Caicedo in 2019, 2020, and I think they loaned him out for some 2 years, joined them in the January of this year, and he's done so well. He's literally sat in that role for Yves Bissouma. And I think many Brighton fans, when we play Brighton, I'll have a Brighton fan on and we'll discuss Moises Caicedo and all this, setup they have. I think they don't miss Yves Bissouma at all. The box-to-box role that he was playing, I think Moises Caicedo is doing that very well, coming forward, scoring goals, creating chances as well. And, when it comes to breaking play as well, he's a fantastic gem. And what actually amuses me about him is just 20 years of age. There is a lot of room for improvement. He's just going to get better. And for me, look, N'Golo Kante, if you're looking for a replacement for N'Golo Kante in the world of football, I can't look further than Moises Caicedo. Now, the problem with Moises Caicedo is the competition. We will be facing Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City, Arsenal. Look, it looks like he's wanted by every club in the Premier League, every huge club, every big club in the Premier League. That is a positive. Literally, it means that you've scouted well. It means that you're looking at a talent who would play in every Premier League side. And actually, if we go by form, the only team he doesn't play in the Premier League right now is Manchester City. Because I think with Manchester City, Lodri and Calvin Phillips, both of them I would start both of them ahead of Caicedo, given the fact that he's only played 1 year or actually less than a year in the Premier League. But apart from that, I think he walks into every other Premier League side, even ahead of Thomas Partey, because he's more consistent and he's going to be there. He's not going to pick up those injuries that Thomas Partey is actually picking up. So that is why I think Caicedo is a good spot. I think that is why I think Arsenal have really thought very well in terms of thinking about Moises Caicedo. The other advantage I think with Moises Caicedo is the age bracket. You're talking about a guy who's just 20, so look, even if it doesn't work out, when he signs for Arsenal, you can sell him, you can move him on to any other Premier League club, the Italian Serie A, the Spanish La Liga, the German Bundesliga, and even the French League 1. He's not English, so he's not limited by boundaries, and his talent for me is limitless. But I don't think he would sign for a club like Arsenal, a team that really possesses, plays that possession-based style, and it doesn't work out. I would be very surprised if it comes to Arsenal and then it doesn't work out. The only systems that could actually fail him are the Antonio Conte system, the Thomas Tuchel system, those kind of systems that are quite very primitive at times, and then so pragmatic when they turn away from primitive. But when you look at Mikel Arteta and what he wants to do with this Arsenal side, possess the ball, break play, and win the ball back high up the pitch, make sure you can press high, make sure you can have possession for longer periods of time, create chances, make it enjoyable. I think Moises Caicedo would actually fit our system very well. Now, I've looked at his market value on the transfer market. It's 25 million euros. It's absolutely mad for a player who still has 2 to 3 years left on his contract. I just can't believe it. You literally cannot be serious, Brighton. You cannot have this guy at 25 million euros. But in my opinion, the transfer market value is not always what players move for. So I think if Brighton were going to sell him, if they are going to sell him in January, it's going to be around 40 to 45 million euros. And in the summer, the price could go down a little bit to around 35 to 40 million euros. But look, investing 45 million euros in Moises Caicedo is a smart move. That is absolutely good business. If you can keep him for 10 years, 20 to 30, that is absolute value for money. And again, when I look at him, he's one guy that can play for you box to box on a couple of occasions. One guy that is always going to be reliable as a defensive midfielder. His passing is absolutely up there. Passing accuracy is good. I think he's got that kind of passing range that Mikel Arteta would want. And of course, you've seen it with Thomas Partey. When Partey is in the team, we've got that special passing range to find the likes of Saka, to find the likes of Gabriel Martinelli. You need that kind of guy that has that big passing range alongside Granit Xhaka, of course. So I think Moises Caicedo would be a very good buy for us. Now, there are few reasons why it might not be the best buy. He's only played 1 year, actually less than a year in the Premier League. So many people would say playing at Brighton for less than a year and then you move on to a big side like Arsenal. Of course, playing at Brighton has its own demands. Coming to Arsenal has its own pressures. You're going to be, you need to be almost playing at a high level every game. Match day in, match day out. The requirements are quite different. But for me, Moises Caicedo, 40 million euros, 45 million euros, just absolute value for money. If Brighton can sell to us, if we can beat off competition from Chelsea, Man United, Manchester City, and a couple of other, big clubs, then Caicedo is a good buy. Look, I think he will fancy his chances to play for Graham Potter again at Chelsea, because he's the manager that introduced him to European football. He's the first manager that told him, look, you're this good, I trust you, you're going to come to play for me in the Premier League, and you're going to take you're going to take on this huge role at the best of the midfield after Yves Bissouma. Now, look, we all looked at Yves Bissouma and we thought this Brighton side were never going to replace Yves Bissouma. But no one talks about Bissouma now. No one thinks about Bissouma in light with Brighton. Caicedo has done a fantastic job. So Arsenal, that's a good move. Yes, we are linked with him. We were interested in him even last summer. So if Arsenal can actually pull the plug on Caicedo in January, that is a wonderful buy. Not only for a short term, but also in the long run. When Thomas Partey retires, you have someone that is going to replace him just smoothly. You don't have to spend another year or 2 years looking for a defensive midfielder. You have one in your midst. Caicedo, when Partey decides to leave Arsenal or probably leave football, at once, then Caicedo can step in, as now a full defensive midfielder for Arsenal. Now, the other one I thought about is Douglas Luiz. Of course, hugely linked with Arsenal in the last summer on deadline day. I thought it was going to happen. I really thought it was going to happen because when you think about everything that happened, Arsenal sent in 3 bids for Douglas Luiz. Who are they, Aston Villa, to turn down 3 bids for Douglas Luiz from Arsenal, moreover? But I think it was more of a deja vu kind of, tit for tat is a fair game. When they wanted Emile Smith-Rowe, they sent in 3 bids for Emile Smith-Rowe. They wanted him as a replacement for Jack Grealish, and we said, no, it ain't happening. Our number 10 is not going anywhere. So I think when they thought about Arsenal wanting Douglas Luiz from their side, they're like, we are never going to accept this. We are never going to let this deal go through. But in January, his contract will be left with a few months. Actually, I think 6 months to expire. That is when Aston Villa will be thinking, now we need to get something little out of this guy. Now, just like I said, in the summer, Aston Villa are really, really a well-financed club. Their owners do have some money. So 10 million euros, 5 million euros, 6 million euros is not money that's going to let them jump out of their shed. So I'm not trying to say we should seduce them with money, but I'm trying to say that we can add some fuel to the fire. We've already created the fire. We've already lit up the fire in the summer. If Arsenal can add just slight fuel, just some small fuel to the fire in January, this deal can be pushed over the cliff. Now, my problem with Douglas Luiz is if you're going to look at the long-term vision, if you're looking at someone who's going to play for you at the best of the midfield, then there's so many other players that are actually better than him. I wanted him as a quick fix in the summer, and I was willing for Arsenal to spend 30 million euros on him. The advantage with him as well is that he's very, very versatile. You can play him high up the pitch, just like Granit Xhaka. He will create chances for you. He will be that kind of guy that can be, occupy advanced positions. My problem with Douglas Luiz is defensively, although he's versatile, defensively, he hasn't convinced me yet. I don't see him as that very good defensive midfielder. Rodri, Fabinho, Partey, Caicedo, Bissouma. He's not in that category yet. He's not winning the ball back, a lot of the time. I don't think he breaks play enough. Actually, what I like about him, though, is he's kind of Jorginho-like. I know Chelsea fans, if they see this video, they'll think I'm an absolute imbecile to think we should sign a player in the profile of Jorginho. But think about Mikel Arteta. What does he want? A player who can hold the ball, a player who can pass the ball at 96% passing accuracy. I mean, Xavi could do that. I don't know if Douglas Luiz can do that as well. Of course, he takes a lot of corner duties, set piece duties as well, and dead ball situations. So he's not a bad guy. 23 years of age, has Premier League experience. He's played in the Premier League for quite some time, longer than Moises Caicedo. And also, the age bracket is good. 23, brings in experience, not very young for you to get scared of playing him in the big games, and not very old to be for you to be thinking, does he have a resale value? Now, if you ask me, Caicedo or Douglas Luiz, my answer is Caicedo, because I think Caicedo has a higher ceiling. Caicedo has a bigger resale value than Douglas Luiz. But overall, I would say Douglas Luiz is not a bad buy in my opinion. Honestly, I don't think he's actually a bad buy. So let's go with Moises Caicedo over Douglas Luiz. Lastly, is Danilo at Danilo in the Brazilian league. I think he's playing at Palmeiras. We've talked about Danilo. Arsenal really wanted him on deadline day as well, and also in the last days of the transfer window. His transfer was actually blocked by his club because they never wanted to sell. Now, you think about Danilo, you're thinking about a 20-year-old moving from Brazil to the English Premier League. He brings you that kind of squad depth. He brings you that kind of numbers, but I actually don't think he brings the experience Caicedo and Douglas Luiz bring. Now, why I like Danilo, it's the talent. You look at the likes of Casemiro and what they're doing and what they've done on Europe. You really want to have a Brazilian at the best of your midfield. His passing is late. He's very, very, talented. Has the ability to play between a box to box and also a defensive midfielder. And I think the way that number 6 role has been revolutionized, Players like Danilo are the true example and type of the modern midfielder. You must be able to break up play well, but then you also have to be able to pass the ball and create chances far from them. Now, Thomas Partey is good at that. I don't think there is a better midfielder at Arsenal in terms of playing in defensive midfield, because Partey will create chances, a few chances. He will open up, the passing lanes. He will utilize those, channels that are worked by, your wingers and your forwards and everyone. And that is what Danilo possesses. My problem is the asking price. I don't think Arsenal should part with 50 million euros for Danilo. If he's going to be around 30, 35, well and good. I'm okay with that. We can invest, some money in that deal, given the fact that I don't think many clubs are actually going to be chasing him. So it is kind of a free run. So that is why I would go for Danilo. But among the three, Caicedo comes out on top. Douglas Luiz second. Of course, Douglas Luiz has that Premier League experience. And also, I think he's also played for Manchester City. So he's gone through that education system. And then Danilo comes third. In the comment section, let me know which defensive midfielder should Arsenal try to sign in January. All those deals are fortunately doable in January. Douglas Luiz's contract runs down in 6 months in January. So look, I think if he keeps on pushing from the inside, Arsenal pushing from the outside, we can't get the deal. Caicedo is available. Brighton have already said anyone that wants him, we won't stand in the player's way to going to one of the biggest clubs in the country. If you want him, place your orders. Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United have all been linked. City, I'm not really sure because they already have Rodri and Calvin Phillips. So it looks like Chelsea, Man United, and Arsenal, plus Liverpool, of course, will be fighting for the signature of Moises Caicedo. Danilo, want to look at in the summer if we don't get anyone in January. I think Mikel Arteta loves that kind of profile. Loves that kind of profile, young, talented, hyped as well. When you look at all these all the players we've signed, there is some kind of slight hype on them. So in the summer, Danilo would be a better buy because that is when Palmeiras will be able to sell him first and foremost, and then his price will drastically come down. Yes, he has a release clause of around 80 million euros, but when you talk to Palmeiras, you talk to them, you tell them how much money you have, and if the player is willing to move and ready to move, the deal actually is doable. So those are my 3 picks for now, for a defensive midfielder and also a holding midfielder. I don't think we'll sign a central midfielder in January, so don't expect me to do a list of central midfielders we can sign in January. Xhaka is doing so well, and Mikel Arteta is really placed. So for now, central midfield probably in the summer. If you want to, if there is a video you want me to do for you, of course, in the comment section, let me know. I'll see you in the next one.